I got to work this out. See, the days I look, I don't look, and the days I look, then I don't look. Good to see you over there. Popping in there, saying hi. Hope you're still there. Um, we're back in the summer doldrums as I began earlier, but I could only hear myself. And isn't that kind of a good thing? A lot of times that we can only hear ourselves and not all of that leaks out there because it'd get rather noisy. That As we head into these summer doldrums, as we were mentioning yesterday, that we end up with this, what in meteorological terms is called a mid-level cap. Somewhere about halfway up through the lower part of the atmosphere from, say, 14,000 to 18,000 feet, it just gets too warm and doesn't really matter how hot it gets down at the surface. It would probably have to get 110 or warmer before we'd see those thunderstorms vault skyward and eventually break through their cap, and then off they go onto the lower reaches of space, 60, 70,000 feet or so in the really tall exceptions. But that cap is going to be in place over a lot of the middle of the country for maybe 2 weeks. That's kind of what the models are indicating now, is that we've got a little bit of time. So what I'm going to do, we'll start over in Australia, and then we will work our way back to the States. And the precip out 7 days, there's not a lot happening out there until you get to the southwestern or the southeastern coast into New South Wales. And we'll kind of move on over here. They're kind of looking for a La Nina watch for their BOM, or Bureau of Meteorology, for the first time since February of 18. Strengthening evidence indicates that Australia may be heading out of drought, and that would be certainly good news. We all globally watched those fires rage across southern Australia last fall, our fall, their summer, so last November, December, and it was just kind of intense. So at this stage, the most intense weather for this next inbound storm likely to occur along the New South Wales coast and adjacent ranges, somewhere between the south coast and mid-north coast between Monday and Wednesday, so still coming up. So they're looking for a powerful low-pressure system, which will bring some snow to the Australian Alps, and finally some cool weather, but just a lot of wind likely to be the big thing. All right, back into Tweetland as we look at Chris Martinez, or Mart's weather, and he's talking about this big high pressure that's kind of anchoring out over the southwestern states, and that's the high I've been talking about. So if we're going to get tropical moisture rolling in from the Caribbean on those easterly trade winds that come across Mexico, get vaulted up into their mountains, and they get exceptional rains this time of year. It's a beautiful, beautiful time to be down there. If you can guarantee your safety, it's just gorgeous. But this hot, high pressure anchored over to Mexico, Arizona, the Four Corners region especially, and even angling over into portions of West Texas, likely to just put the kibosh on the precip. But that's what we're looking at as we move out 4, 5, 6 days. Now it's this guy, Michael Mars. There's a couple of exceptional videos that this guy intercepted yesterday in Minnesota. And if you've ever storm chased, I can tell you it is crazy fun. And especially if you can get in a farm region without trees around, lots of crossroads with minimal traffic, those are the ideal conditions. And I have not been as far north as Minnesota. I've been in portions of North Dakota, especially western North Dakota. And the roads are good there, but it's actually a little hillier in western North Dakota. So he had a couple of intercepts yesterday. We'll get back to his work in a moment. We talked about Neowise, the comet, the last couple of days. In the morning sky, you can still see some stars out here. And this is obviously a photograph, so it tends to saturate the light of the stars and then also the comet. But you'd have to get up early, before daybreak. And right now we're at about earliest sunrise ever. The month we've just concluded, from 7 June to 7 July is when the sun rises the earliest. So you'd be looking at least an hour before sunrise before you'd see this. And you'd have a chance to see it low on the eastern horizon, and then climbing a little bit higher as we move, 50 minutes before sunrise, 40 minutes, and probably by 40 minutes, the daylight is going to be enough that the stars are starting to fade away and you wouldn't be able to see this. All right, North Pole blocking ridge of high pressure, that's likely to be in place for a while. In fact, the models are kind of kicking that out through much of the rest of the month. That displaces the polar jet stream a little bit farther south, so we'd see some cooler weather in the lees of Scandinavia, across portions of Siberia, and then into the northwestern U.S. So this is what happens when these big highs and we get the record heat going up into the far polar regions, is that farther south it's got to get cool. All right, this is kind of, well, yeah, we can look at this because it's kind of crazy. A U.S. Water Postal Service truck destroyed by a water spout, and they don't pick up quite as much debris as tornadoes, but they're still the same beast. It's the same scenario. It's the same strong winds focused, yeah, in a very small area. And that's just an F0, just barely, but it's enough to do that kind of damage. And then you're going to wonder where the letter from grandma went. It's blowing in the wind. All right, back down to here. We'll continue on. And the reason that ended up in the stream is because this character decided to be out on a boat. And let's go storm chasing while we're out there hunting largemouth bass or some perch or maybe even, just whatever's out in the Gulf. And so he sees this water spout out there, same thing as a tornado, and just says, why not? Let's go for it. Well, we just saw what happened with a semi-truck and its trailer just exploded open because, those sidewalls of those trailers are not all that sturdy. But this dude, brave, but at least he has his camera running, and we've got a little video from it. And apparently he survived because we have video from it. But he ends up going, I'm going to speed this up just a touch. And you can see that the dude truly intercepts this thing out in the open water. And I'm in all kinds of amazed that he didn't get his boat flipped, because that would have been, I would have thought, the highest priority, the highest outcome from this interception would have been that he would have lost his boat and thrown it over, because you're gambling with 70, 80, 90 mile an hour winds with a whole lot of curvature. So crazy. That's the word. And then we're back to Michael as he pops out of his Volvo. I'm sorry, I've done this in my Volvo. This was like 2006, 2007, and look at this right in front of him. And if I were him, and he probably knows better, yeah, get back in the car. You'll get it. You'll get it. Just because the debris that's flying, you don't know what's been picked up, what's been, sucked into or blown out of that particular storm. So a crazy storm. And he had literally 6 interceptions yesterday, 6 interceptions with these storms. And I'm going to try to move forward just a touch and trust that the internet can catch up. Maybe it can't. But he was literally right there. And we got to look up the beast. There we go. Let's play it again, Mr. Scott. But it's not a big guy. So that, leaves you with a little bit of safety that you can get out of the way. But look at that monster. Kind of has me itching to go fuel up the car and go for a ride. But Minnesota, look how green it is. Look how lush. And that farmer, there's a farmhouse not from there. Damaged kind of the windbreaks of the trees. A couple of trees there vaulted up. But so far, so good as far as the safety factor. But look at that thing. I mean, it's exceptional. Truly, truly, truly exceptional. So a couple of his other chases. And, he wasn't alone out there on this particular day. So to intercept 6 tornadoes had to be kind of a rare thing. And this one, I'm sorry for the photography, is just crazy. Yeah. All right. Cool, huh? Cool. All right. That's just showing the geek in me. So as those storms came out of North Dakota and then raced into Minnesota yesterday, a few broke off and then headed down to Oklahoma where they're terribly dry. I'm going to cycle this. And Tulsa, right in there towards the bottom of the screen, right in through here, through the whole month of June, ended up with 0.11 inches worth of water. So they have been on the verge of drought. They had a lot of rain through the spring, but the droughts began last month. They had a nice round of thunderstorms roll through there this morning. So that's given them a little bit of a soaking, but not a lot. The heat's still going on, 70s and 80s. I've got to refresh this because this is a bit of an older image. 88 there now, 90 McAllister, but still hot in West Texas. 106 in Amarillo is just crazy hot. 110, 108, so very, very warm in the places where it should be. Minnesota and Wisconsin still cool from those storms that have pushed on through there, and still dealing with another complex coming across there this evening. I don't know. I haven't hit Twitter too hard this afternoon to see if these storm chasers are getting lucky. But there's one set of storms that broke off, another one that headed through Oklahoma that we just looked at some of the precip from. That guy's headed down there. But what I was interested in, and let's see how this transitions over here, are all these waves. Can you see those waves through Oklahoma right in through here? Just how unusual they look, completely unusual in their patterns. And so what I've been noticing over the years of a lot of photography, especially time-lapse photography, is that these waves can either tear thunderstorms apart, so they just look like a hazy mess, or they could accentuate them. And it looked like this morning they were seeing the accentuation. There's the rains up to the north, rolling through Wisconsin, where we're dealing with floods and not so much tornado watches as we were yesterday. Looks like maybe even a little bit going on over the Front Range. Could be popping. Those have been very, very dry locations. And one last little looky over here, where severe weather in and around Atlanta. Enough that these storms are slow movers, and the creeks are coming up quickly because they've sat there for so long that we're resulting in or beginning to see some flooding. All right, as we head to the weekend, record heat to be in place. This for tomorrow. Some record highs in West Texas. And then as we move into Saturday, the heat stays down there, 110. 110. No heat index. That's just plain 110 degrees. And what city would that be? Yeah, Childress, Texas. That's just nasty in every sense of the word. That's just wrong. And then the record highs, looking for about a dozen locations, a dozen plus locations, at or close to record highs, even through Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So it's going to be a weekend where the pools are going to be full. The air conditioners are going to be on. If you're running an electric company, you're just going to be watching your demand load and hoping that you can fill all the requests. And what we're after right in through here, here's the center of the high. And this is through Friday. And look how this baby spreads out. It just gets wider from the far western edges of Louisiana all the way through Southern California, spreads out off the California coast. Kind of weakens a little bit about next Tuesday as a cool Canadian low rolls on through. And this is another part of the story. We may be hot here, but these lows keep dropping into Canada. Some of them have been allowed to trigger tornadoes across Minnesota, to keep rains into Montana, Oregon, North Dakota. But farther south of that boundary, it's just plain hot. So I want to come over here. I think it's the last one. No, we're going to do this one. And how much precip is forecast across southern Canada once again. It's crazy. Through 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inches worth of rainfall. Very dry through the west, and the upper Midwest, not so bad. Elsewhere, kind of a little bit below normal for the month or for the year, and we're kind of shy on precip. Tomorrow we'll look at the drought monitor, see where we've had improvement and where the degradation of agriculture continues to move on through. But I'm watching Canada with a very keen eye right now, and we'll do some surveys on their crops to see how they're dealing with the cooler weather and then just the very, very persistent rains. Yeah, Robin, that is freaking hot and small and powerful. Those tornadoes, yeah, those are, yeah. That's just a fun profession. If you can get with some cool guys and you just all train up and you just hit the right spots at the right time, and it truly only makes one day like that out of maybe 20 that you're out, that you really get rewarded if you're patient, if you're diligent, and very, very persistent. And those are skills you hone as you perfect that art of storm chasing. All right, everybody, have a great evening. Tomorrow morning, it's a wrap up with Vicky on the Coffee Break Show. I'll join her and let's see where the conversation goes. There's no shortage of topics to talk about. Coming up in 45 minutes is Tracy with her Unlocked show right here in the group. And we'll be there to talk about that and see what she has for us on this evening. All right, everybody, take care. I'll see you tomorrow, and keep looking up.